What's up, everybody? It's your boy Smellsworth. This is the Saltcast, the official podcast of the Salt Mine 1v1 tournament series. It's co-hosted by myself and the show match god, Johnny Boy. Each week, we interview pros and figureheads from the Rocket League community to find out their backstories and how they got to where they are now. The show is recorded live on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/smellsworthless every Tuesday or Wednesday. So sometimes you might hear references to the chat or the inevitability of me messing up audio production, and occasionally something doesn't translate well to audio. Stick with us. We're getting better at these things every show, and if you'd like to, obviously come by and catch the show live every week. The show will be published on all podcasting platforms, YouTube, and on Twitch. If we happen to miss your platform, send me a message. We'll fix it right away. You can find all these releases, the stream schedule, and more at my site, smelly.af. That's right. Smelly.af. Now it's time to enjoy the show. Halfway Dead! Yay. I forgot to add that.
Wait, is it actually created with rocket science?
It is. Yeah, of course it is.
That's so sick.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Wow, okay, clear that one of us is a fan. Hey, I'm sorry about that. I really apologize. So,
sorry, I've been doing is using the Airbus creator code. That's all I need. But
that's true. We've been plugging Farah pretty hard, so apologies for that. But today we're using rocket science. So there's a lot of whales in this chat. They spend a lot of money, buddy. Don't worry, we got you.
Sounds great.
Okay, so you've got a long screen name. Do we call you by your real first name? Do we call you Half? Do we call you Halfway? Do we call you just Dead? What do people when you say, like, somebody says go in Rocket League in game, what do they call you? What are they short?
I mean, usually in Rocket League, if they just see me, they just say Halfway. But
Halfway.
I don't like that too much. But Bakkes always calls me Halfy.
Halfy.
Happy.
And then you like that?
Like Happy.
Is that the preferred? Okay.
Yeah, my first name, Timo, is also fine.
Timo.
Usually
Okay.
most of my friends call me that.
Okay.
Timo, like the League of Legends champion.
Well, it's written with an I instead of two E's, but yeah.
But it's the same pronunciation, though.
Yeah.
I feel like that, just because it's the same pronunciation, a lot of people are going to be really salty at you when they find out you're Timo, because Timo in League of Legends, do you play League of Legends at all? Do you follow it? But
I have watched a bit with my friends and stuff. I know about Timo, yeah.
It's like one of the most annoying champions to play against, because he's just running around putting down mushrooms everywhere that are invisible till you stand on them and they blow up and slow you down. So everybody hated Timo. They probably hear you're Timo and they're like, oh man. You just remind me
it's a very common name in Germany, though.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah, I had no idea though. I've met you and I would just be like, oh, Halfway Dead, how's it going, man? But never thought, like, that doesn't make sense in a playing Rocket League context. You can't say, hey, Halfway Dead, you got that? It takes too long. Communication is not going to work with that kind of
see, that's kind of why I was asking, but it's good. We're good now.
Happy is pretty good as well.
So yeah, so Happy was the preference we ended in.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. And I was also going to ask next where you were from. I was going to guess German, but I always, I'm a dumb American, so I don't want to.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, do you want anything more precise?
Thank you. Wow. Agree quicker. Agree quicker with me calling myself dumb. Wow. You're on my podcast, dude. What? Yeah. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. Finish.
No, I was talking about indeed, like that I'm in Germany. But yeah, do you want anything more precise? I don't know. I won't give away my location.
Yeah, well, generally, what city are you from? Do you still live in the city you're from? Whereabouts in Germany?
Yeah, I live in Münster. That's about 100 kilometers north of Dortmund, which I guess is a bit more famous. If you don't know that, it's even further north of Cologne.
Okay, cool. I know Cologne. I didn't know the other two. What about you, Johnny?
Yep, same. I also knew Cologne, but that's about it. I only really know like the big German cities, but I've never been to anywhere in Germany except Leipzig for the one DreamHack event. That's it. Where is the best place to go in Germany, Timo?
Depends on what you want to do. Like for vacation, I would say the south, definitely. Something like Munich, or just go straight to the Alps. And other than that, I think Berlin is kind of interesting.
Berlin's cool. Yeah.
Other than that, I don't Don't have. I guess I have visited a couple of cities, but I'm not that much of a city guy. So.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah. Berlin's. Have you been to Berlin, Johnny?
No, only Leipzig in Germany. Never.
We should go to Berlin sometime once the world is done melting down. It is awesome. I would live in Berlin. It's one of the cities in Europe that I would live in. It's amazing. It's awesome.
It's a bit more. Well, is it a bit more? It would be easier to live in than Paris. You reckon?
Oh, way easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's Paris isn't that hard to be. Yeah, it's very international. Oh, you mean in terms of language? In terms of language, of course, like all of Germany knows English better than the French for sure. But Berlin is great food. It's cheap, really cheap compared to Paris specifically. And it's got a very punk vibe to it as well. There's a lot of graffiti and it's a bit more gritty. And after you're in like a at least for me, I've been in Paris for a long time. It's very idyllic and like everything's like perfect and on brand. Sometimes I really like that, a little bit more of a gritty city. I felt that same way when I went to like Budapest and went to Rome as well. So anyway, that's my take. And then Munich is dope for Oktoberfest. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sold, man. Yeah, we need to go do the round trip of Germany.
We'll meet up with Happy somewhere.
Yeah.
Get things
do a little lap of the country.
Yeah. So Happy, welcome to the show. First off,
thanks for having me.
I was very excited to invite you. Johnny can attest. I'm just very fascinated with all the amazing tools. I mean, so Rocket League is the primary game that I've invested a lot of time into that has this, but I see it in other esports as well. Just like all the cool projects and tools and things that people build around the games and the ecosystem, and most of the time for free. Find it really, really interesting. So I wanted to get you on here. And plus, after you made the Alliteration Andy add-on to the Bakkesmod plugin, it was pretty much a shoo-in. I got the message. We're going to have you on the show. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I get it. We'll get you on the show. It's no problem. So yes, thank you for being here. What are you salty about?
I mean, not much recently.
Hey, that's good.
Good.
That's good.
I don't actually know.
What about when casters perpetuate myths? I'm just like looking at your pinned tweet right now.
Wait, did you tweet that?
Thinking about that, but
did you tweet that recently? Yeah. Oh no. What was the tweet exactly? Hold on, I need to pull this up. We can't just mention that.
It's from back when BTS was going on.
Oh right, okay. Wait, we need to find this. BTS was that was a while ago now. When was that?
Do you want to explain that? You want to explain the tweet, Happy?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was just that Yummy, I think, said on stream that the Fennec is almost the same as the Octane, but it's like slightly different, so you can get different textures, and that's complete, bollocks. It's
Yummy Cheese Man getting called out.
He tags him in the tweet and calls him out. So yeah, it's already happened. I mean, it happened in August 2019, so it's an old wound.
Oh, it's August. Okay.
Yeah. No, he took it just fine. I'm sure you learn something new every day. So
yeah, I'm sure he would. Yeah, I'm sure. In the moment, it's one of those things that when you're casting and you start that sentence, you're like, oh no, I don't actually know what I'm about to say for sure, but I better finish this because it sounds even worse if I don't finish this sentence. You're committed. So after you start saying, yeah, especially if the other casters brought it up and you're trying to back him up, he's just said something. You're like, yeah, you're like, okay, let me try and remember something that I know about this subject. And then you accidentally just get it totally wrong. It happens. That's hilarious though. You're just like, Yummy, this is nonsense, buddy. I've got to find this. I need to see it. Okay, wait. Did you tweet this? Just a tweet?
Yeah,
or is it at Yummy?
It's his pinned tweet.
That's why I can't find it. It's your pinned one. I just started scrolling down.
Yeah. You got too carried away.
2019, so good luck finding it by scrolling it down.
Yeah, I was scrolling.
Honestly, I misread this tweet, and I spent a long time watching the video trying to see how they were different. I thought that you were pointing out that they're actually different. Because in the past, I've seen you call out even Psionics when they the Psionics tweet account will say something. You'd be like, wrong. I'm in the code. I know what happens. I know the details, man. And you called them out. So I like in my brain read this tweet as that sort of thing where he's, he's saying it's identical and I didn't have the audio on. So I was like watching, I'm like, it looks pretty close. I don't know. What's he talking about?
Yeah. Where's the difference? Maybe I'm not seeing it, but yeah. So the exact tweet, because I think it's hilarious, is every minute in NA, a caster perpetuates a myth. Together we can stop this at Yummy Cheese Fan at BTS Rocket League. Yeah. And then the side by side of the Octane and the Fennec doing exactly the same thing. Did you do that by plugging the same controller or keyboard mouse setup into two different games, or how did you do that for the recording?
Yeah, it's actually more difficult because if you just have like a regular controller that runs the exact same inputs, if your frame rate is unstable, you're going to get different results. And that's not that the physics are changing, or the physics are also not frame rate dependent. But the problem is how the inputs are gathered. So they are gathered every frame. So when the frame rate is different, the input might end up in a different physics stick. And so you actually need to hook into the game and actually set the input for every single physics stick the exact same way, and then you get exactly the same outcome.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I knew it would be more complicated than just plugging it into your accounts. Obviously, definitely.
Johnny, it's good that you let Happy explain that instead of trying to explain it yourself. Thank you for allowing the guest to speak. Yeah. That's good.
Probably a good idea to not attempt that and then have him tweet at me later. It's like every 2 minutes on this Saltcast, a myth is perpetuated. Together we can stop this.
Actually, you've been watching some of our grid streams. How often do we say stupid things that don't line up at all with rocket science?
Surprisingly little. I mean,
what do you mean surprisingly? What?
I've watched Johnny Boy for a really long time, and he's probably said the least amount of wrong stuff out of any caster I've seen. Out of like RSDS stuff is what I know usually.
There's one thing though. There's one thing for a long time that I've disagreed with Johnny about, and so has Marky. And actually, I would love for you to test this, and you can use this video clip later as a prompt for that, which is backflip shots. So backflip shots from this is old school. It's like when you do a run up to the ball and you do a backflip. If you time it correctly and you hit the ball, it should be a different arc than just driving straight into the ball and hitting it. And Johnny used to say that it didn't change it at all. And me and Scrub and Marky all said that it did change it. And you can
am I allowed to comment before we hear the verdict? Okay. So the reason I was saying it didn't make a difference is because when I watched it happen, every time that somebody would do a backflip shot, which is just where the ball is just like on the ground or bouncing, and then they would drive into it, hit the ball, and then they would flip. They wouldn't actually. Sure. Most of the time, people wouldn't actually hit it with the flip, which is why I said it wasn't doing anything. However, if it's hit with the flip, which is incredibly timing sensitive, it would be different. But the easier way to spot that isn't on a backflip shot. It's actually when a player will air roll upside down and flip into the ball when it's midair. Because when it's midair, it's a bit easier to actually get a hit on it than when it's on the ground. Because when it's on the ground, obviously the gap that you can get underneath the ball with the hitbox is quite small. But when it's in the air, you can actually get the upwards hit on it. I think from watching, and I've never tested this, I can't wait to hear the science behind it. But from watching the difference between when somebody air rolls upside down and then flips into the ball, and when they just go straight and flip into it, it definitely does look like there's a difference in that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is always a small difference if there's a small difference in how the ball is hit. And as soon as you do the dodge input, the ball starts to, the card starts to spin. And that means as soon as you do the dodge, and if you do the dodge before you hit the ball, then you are actually going to get a different hit either way. And if you're shooting upside down, it's different anyway, because like the card doesn't rotate around the center of the hitbox. It rotates around the center of mass, which is slightly offset. So you kind of get your car below the ball more with you go upside down. So you can scoop it up more anyway that way.
So there you go. You get more, everybody can get more height on their shots by air rolling upside down and then dodging into it.
Pretty much. I mean, it depends on the car also, because like the Breakout has the center of mass almost, well, not almost, but quite close to the actual center of the hitbox. But in terms of the Octane or the Merc, it's completely out.
So do you think that's why freestylers use the Breakout for like their insane air dribbling? Because when they're spinning, it's just the car is basically spinning on its axis.
Absolutely. I absolutely think that. I mean, I've tried personally learning air dribbles a bit more, and like the spinning, permanently spinning while air rolling, while air dribbling is just almost impossible on any other car. I mean, it is possible, but you have to account for that, and you're constantly basically flying around the ball rather than just being under the ball and at the same location.
Wow.
That's interesting.
I like how like every sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. I was gonna say I like how like every comment you're gonna make is you're gonna be like almost. Well, not almost, and then you're gonna qualify everything you say like a true scientist. It's really on brand. I like it. It's very much on brand. How did you get your start in Rocket League?
Just gameplay wise or video?
Yeah, like when did you start playing? I don't know what your established title says on.
Or getting interested in it initially.
I mean, I saw it first when it came out on Soda Poppin's channel, and then Soda Poppin watched the Kronovi one touch, and I was like, I got to do all of this. I got to be able to do all of that stuff that Kronovi does in this montage. I know other people went like, oh, I'm never going to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. But no, I went the other way around, and I really wanted to play the game back then. I had exams coming up, so I kind of stopped myself from getting it, but instead I watched, I don't know, 20 hours or 30 hours of streams. So I could have just gotten it myself. But once I had the exams all done, I got the game, and I literally played 10 hours the first day, 6 hours the next day or something. I just couldn't stop.
Stay in school, kids. We're getting all kinds of good advice here. Stay in physics in particular. Don't miss your physics class, or Halfway Dead's going to be furious at you. You start playing around about the start of Rocket League then, like when it was still like just fresh, established 2015.
Yeah, 2 weeks after it came out.
Yes, I think that's before me actually, because I started playing just around about the time that Dominus was added, which is a couple months later, I think, or a month later. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, one thing that intrigued me is how on earth you play with the mouse steering, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just explain this, and then I'll explain it badly, and then you can explain it well, as most of this episode is probably going to be. So
exactly.
So I heard about this because I think one day I was streaming on my channel, and I was explaining why somebody asked when you play keyboard and mouse, because they were a controller player, they said, hey, when you play keyboard and mouse, do you steer with the mouse? And I said, like, no, what are you talking about? Steer with the mouse? That would be ridiculously hard. It'd be impossible. You just steer with WAS, A and D, basically, if your default controls is the WASD keys. And that's when you said in my Twitch chat, like, oh yeah, I play mouse steering. And I think you've been Grand Champ multiple times, or very high rated player steering with the mouse. And if anyone hasn't tried it, go to free play right now, change your controls to mouse steering, and try and hit the ball. Simply, just try and hit the ball. It's going to be a challenge. So I have no idea how on earth you did that, but more importantly, why on earth did you decide to do mouse steering? What on earth was the thought process behind that? Because it's not the default controls, so you had to, and I don't know anyone else who does it. You had to have, there must be a reason for this for someone like you.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think there was another person that said it first in your chat, and that was the only person I've found so far that also steers with the mouse.
Right.
And yeah, I contacted them on Twitter, but yeah. Basically, I never started with default controls. When I grew up, I played a lot of racing games on keyboard, and I never had a controller back then, so I got really used to that. I always played on the arrow keys, like Trackmania and that stuff. And when Rocket League came out, I basically thought to myself, why would I do that with WASD? So I just put the steering on the arrow keys, and I left accelerate on and brake on W and S. And I'd like air roll on A, because you couldn't air roll left and right back then. So basically, I had those controls. And at some point, I wanted analog, because I also tried controller, but I just couldn't switch. Even though I've played like 300 hours on controller, I'm complete trash. I just can't do it.
Same.
But
feels wrong.
It's just wrong for me. I don't know. And the worst part, I switched to controller when I had like 400 hours, 500 hours on keyboard. And I did 300 hours on controller. I was way worse still. But yeah, anyway, this is what my weird control scheme. So I...
Wait, how did you boost and jump? With you had both hands on the keyboard,
I had completely different controls. I had boost on shift, because it was like running, and jump on spacebar.
Jump on spacebar. That's the same as Yummy Cheese Man, the mad lad. But jump on spacebar.
It just seemed natural to me when I got the game.
It's always spacebar to jump in other games, but then when people do that in Rocket League, I'm like, that's hilarious to me.
No, I think that's crazy. Actually bad because it's like difficult to do too quick jump.
Yeah, it's hard to do a double tap. True, compared to clicking.
No, I just tried it one day, like to bind it, and it just seemed a bit too high sensitivity for me. So I lowered the DPI and tried a bunch of stuff because the actual sensitivity setting, it doesn't work on ground steering. It only works in the air. So it's pretty much extremely busted and the game is not made for it. So you need the perfect settings pretty much. So if anyone wants to actually try it, I would say set it to 300 DPI. And you have to have a mouse that has a higher polling rate than the frame rate you use. So you said it's impossible, and I saw your video of you doing it.
Yeah.
And you basically only can turn every second frame because your mouse apparently is 125 hertz. And I'm pretty sure about that because that's exactly what my computer does when I set it to 125 hertz. And yeah, if you don't do that, you can turn every frame, and then you can actually do tight turns and stuff like that. But yeah, you need that, and then like 80 sensitivity, and maybe some extra aerial and ground sensitivity. Ground sensitivity doesn't do anything, and then you can try. But it just felt natural to me, mainly in the air. I started doing it on the custom maps with with the aerial control where you have to do obstacle courses. And I felt like the small tabs on the keyboard didn't give me as much control, so I just did it there. And then at some point I just did it in game, and I literally just, after a bit of free play, I don't know, like 5 hours and custom maps, I went into ranked, and I was straight up as good as I was on keyboard.
What? That's mad. I thought surely you must have like just done this from the start because you thought it was better and never like known any other like controls. But this is something you consciously changed after hundreds and hundreds of hours of playing with completely different controls, and you're like, yeah, you know what? I need mouse steering.
Yeah, absolutely. I literally got my Season 3 Grand Champ, and then I made the switch.
Wow.
And I stayed in Season 3 Grand Champ. Not that that means anything, but...
Mad. That's still really crazy. I never thought that would be the reason, or that would be like the origin of mouse steering. Yeah, I want to see more of it. Obviously, like, I have committed so many hours to learning the controls I have, which are basically default keyboard controls. I would never change them. But that is so cool. I wonder how many like new players do this, or how many players there are out there who actually do that to an insanely high level. You guys need to like start a club in game or something. The mouse steerers, or somebody's probably got a better name than. Come on, Twitch, come up with a better name for them than that. Because imagine you're losing the rank to people who are steering with their mouse. Like, the people would get so tilted because they'd go and try it once themselves, not know about the frame rate cap, and think, yeah, this is impossible. How are they beating us? This doesn't make any sense. That's hilarious. I can't believe that.
So is Rocket League the first game where you've invested this kind of, I don't know, scientific effort? I get the feeling that you're probably like this outside of Rocket League as well with certain things. I doubt that it's just, the context of Rocket League is the only place that you're, this diligent and whatever. But were there other games before Rocket League that you took like very seriously and did this
World of Warcraft?
Ah, okay.
World of Warcraft, really? Well, like PvP or PvE?
Yeah, PvP mostly. But I did a bit of PvE earlier too, but at the end of the day, I did only PvP until Warlords of Draenor came out, and I hated the game. And I quit
that was a different game for sure.
I wasn't. It was just for myself though, because like no one knew me, so that makes a lot of difference, I suppose. Because I had the recognition early on when I made the first video. I posted it on Reddit, and I got like 1,000 views in a day, which was so much. And I got 100 subs off my first video. That was absolutely crazy to me. And that's why I put in a lot more work than I did anywhere else. So in WoW, I did theory crafting for myself. I looked at the stats, tried to get like small advantage over the theory crafting that anyone copies over from anyone, but not to this degree.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's awesome. And what's your background outside of gaming? Are you, obviously you have some tech skills. Are you do you have a full-time job outside of your content, or are you full-time on content?
No, I study still in university.
Okay.
I have taken I started my master's degree 3 years ago. And I kind of took the speed down a bit. I did my bachelor's in 3 years, like you're supposed to. Cool. And then the master's degree I took way slower. I started and tried to make weekly videos, but I failed quickly. And mainly I thought I was gonna get a bit more faster at making them. And then the exams, or rather the just regular courses, started again, because I took an entire semester off, and I realized that I just can't do this as fast. So I release videos very, very irregularly. So
okay, gotcha.
Somebody's asking a good question. What was your highest arena rating in WoW?
2300, I think, roughly. Or I actually don't know if I reached it or just my teammate, but we did it together. So
yeah, the whole personal rating, team rating thing. But yeah, the same. Yeah, 2300 Mevins. There you go. Now you know. That's funnily enough right about the same as me, actually. I used to play WoW mostly in Wrath. That was the main expansion. Probably got around about the same peak. What I was getting carried though, so it doesn't really count.
I mean, you never know, but I got carried on some classes too.
Yeah. I just played Elemental Shaman and one-shot people with a instant cast button. But anyway, yeah, that's a different story. The science stuff, does that happen in real life as well? Like, are you're just at uni and then somebody will be like, man, I hate it when something or other happens that's so stupid, such bad luck, and you're like, well, actually, I'll tell you this is the reason it happened, and you could have prevented it by these measures. And they're like, dude, I just want to complain. Like, does the science extend into real life interactions as well?
I don't think it's any worse than anyone else at the university. I mean, I study computer science, and everyone else there is in the same ballpark, and maybe they don't have physics experience or something like that, but they have experience in certain science fields, mathematics mostly, and I'm not really that different, so I'm just a regular guy.
just a regular dude. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a nerd compared to normal people, but compared to the people in computer science university,
when you surround yourself with more nerds, you're just
yeah, I'm just average there.
Perfectly at home. Yeah.
What kind of computer science work are you hoping to do after university?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay, fair.
Right now, it's looking like a first try to go full time, maybe on YouTube.
Great.
And see how that goes. I mean, my channel's pretty niche, but I've also, whenever I put in more time, it's been going up really quickly, actually. Maybe not like Seabell quickly, but pretty quickly, in my opinion. And yeah, I want to make more videos that are also interesting to watch in terms of entertainment value, and not just in terms of you can learn something out of it. I want to bring that together. I don't want to make it you can learn nothing out of it. It's just for entertainment, but I want to bring both together.
I think your channel, your type of channel, you said it is very specific, but it'll probably benefit from the massive influx of players that Rocket League just had, in the future. Because nobody, when they just start playing Rocket League for the first time, is going to be like, okay, let me go learn about hitboxes. They're going to be like, oh, okay, let me go. All these Fortnite kids, they're going to go want to watch some crazy video with a battle bus in the thumbnail. But as they become, and I really do think that lots and lots of the millions of these new players are going to stick around and keep playing the game and get more into it and get more into the science behind it and how to improve as a player. That's the type of person who's more likely to tune into your channel and watch all your videos, to binge all them. So it'll probably be a future thing. But right now everybody's just let me just, all of the Fortnite kids are just going to watching every Sunless Khan video that ever.
I'm seeing a
they're just watching, they're like, okay, let me go watch all hundreds of those Sunless Khan videos, because he's got the perfect style for the brand new players to the game, which is pretty cool. And somebody's got a good point in chat. You've got definitely unique I think nobody probably does what you're doing better, so that's an advantage as well for the future.
In terms of the YouTubers, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I mean, there is really that's the advantage. I don't really have anyone that's competing, I would say, like directly with my content. Although there are like a bunch of people that are trying to figure out more stuff and know more stuff in certain details, especially in the mathematical details in the bot community. And part of them are like, I watch their Discord sometimes, and they're mad at me because I don't provide like all the details with all the mathematical formulas to actually reverse engineer the process so you can actually code with it. But that's not really what I'm interested in. At the end of the day, I want to make like the game better for the player, and they should learn something out of it. And maybe there's like some fun fact that actually doesn't help you in the end, but yeah, the goal is to make the game better for players and not. I don't really care about the bot developers. I'm sorry.
Okay. They'll get there eventually.
What about you're involved in Bakkesmod now? What is your involvement like, and when did you get involved with that? Were you involved from the start?
No, that's actually a really funny story. I just happened to meet Bakkes in casual at some point in the past, like I don't know how many years ago it was now.
What, a casual Rocket League game?
Yeah, I literally just queued up and I met Bakkes, and I was like, wait, are you the guy that made Bakkesmod? And he said like, yeah, are you the guy that makes the videos? And he literally friended me on Steam, and at some point he gave me, it's incredible. And then at some point he added me on Steam, and at some point he messaged me whether I would like to have access to the Bakkesmod code so I could like do some extra testing with it and stuff like that. It was incredible. I mean, there were also plugins already back then, which I didn't really know about much. But it's just, you can't do everything in a plugin, especially if he hasn't added it yet. And it's not always a thing of, is he not allowed to add that to a plugin? Or is it more a thing of, it just hasn't been added yet? And if I'm trying to find this new thing and I can't actually search through everything, then I'm very limited. So I'm very thankful he gave me so much opportunity there, because I did my 4th video actually was the first one where I started like memory reading. Before that, I literally just had no tools. I just went into a game. I made a replay or something like that, and I looked at it visually side by side. I mean, I used frame by frame and stuff like that, and the video editing program, but I had absolutely no tool. So I started doing some stuff with Cheat Engine, but that's really, really difficult and so much work to do it all yourself. And with Bakkesmod, I was just able to do that way easier.
That's sick.
That's awesome.
What other do you have any other interactions or stories like that? I mean, not necessarily did you match up with anyone else in casual, but what other sort of connections have you got with that community, the modding and hacking community that we can look forward to seeing more of in the future?
I mean, we got like the Bakkesmod gang, we call it, and there are just a couple of people in there who have helped out a lot in the past, usually in the Discord, so we know them from that, and they started making plugins themselves and stuff like that. So they gained our trust, and then we invited them to like an inner circle. And there are a couple of people there that I just know. I mean, like Cinderblock, I think is probably the most known other than Bakkes. But there's also a Parker Flight Sim. I don't know if you heard of him. He does like a lot of give your game stuff.
Doesn't
coding on that. And who else have Megasplat, who did like the curveball mod for Sunless Khan and more stuff even for him. And he did the Hitbox plugin, right? Actually. Yeah. He made the Hitbox plugin originally, and I kind of took over, but it's always easier to take over and just improve on it. He did the original work on it, and I'm going to forget some people, but they're simple. He did basically all the overlay stuff that you see, the logic behind that, the Bakkesmod, how it ties into that, that's all him. And there's MDK, who doesn't actually code, but he helps us with support, and that's why you know him, and he's a friend now.
Sick. Twitch chat probably asking what positions do you have open? Are you recruiting because they all want to help with the memes and emotes and stuff. I'm sure that they can provide other things as well. But yeah, how did they become part of that community if that's something somebody thinks they might be really good at?
I would just say start making useful plugins. Anything you can think of, or even just offer yourself to others to make their plugin ideas. And other than that, just start talking to us. I don't know. We don't really have like positions open in that
queue up
sense.
casual.
Queue and casual. That's that's the most likely.
No,
2v2 casual 2v2.
That was a different time though. Like that was a different time. I haven't played casual in years. Or I did. I mean, with like real life friends, but
Cinderblock and MDK are in the chat. They came in right in time for you to drop their names.
The gang's here.
Yeah,
yeah, the entire gang.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's more people. I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
I want to leave out people, but I can say Martin and Stan, and I almost forgot Arator. Arator has been there a long time, and they're helping out with the core stuff too now. So with like updates and stuff like that, they've also helped out. That isn't really my stuff. I when I work on actual stuff that makes it into the mod, that isn't a plugin. It's usually just some small new feature that I would find useful, and we put it in. But like the update stuff, that's mostly all Bakkes, and he just gets there and sacrifices his sleep sometime to get that done quickly.
Sleep. You need to sleep, or else his continued career will be shortened by sleep deprivation. He's got to play the long game here. Rocket League probably. I don't think Rocket League's going anywhere. Hopefully the Bakkesmod and that whole community is not going anywhere either. I'd love to see that. Wait, do we have Marky in the chat? Is he ready to get on?
No, I think somebody tagged him because he's still as the sub goal to unban him.
Yeah,
and to mod him.
He's not Marky Duda RL, is he? He's just Marky Duda on Twitch.
I think it's just Marky Duda, yeah.
Yeah, come on, H, go boss. Thought you could fool us. Not today, buddy. We know Marky's not watching.
No, definitely not. Oh man. Yeah. That's super cool. I mean, do you have any like plugin wish list things that you've wanted to make but haven't had time, or just things that you think would be really interesting to add to the plugins? Because I definitely have one, so I'll let you go first. And
no, I have an endless list. Yeah. In theory, I would like to make like trainers that literally just give you one thing to train for. Like the most obvious example for me would be like fast aerials, because I've already made a video on that and broken down to the detail how you do like a perfect fast aerial frame by frame and stuff like that. And I would like a trainer that just tells you like, okay, you need to do a fast aerial, and it gives you basic inputs that you have to do, and then you do it in an actual like custom training pack, and it tells you what you did wrong. And that's not impossible, but it's way more difficult than you would think at first sight, because you have to log every input and stuff like that. And you have to be lenient in a way, because it's not like a macro. Not every situation is exactly the same. You need to tilt slightly differently, and basically whatever you're using, code you're writing that analyzes that has to be taken that all into account and still offer you good value and put it into words that a human can easily understand.
That sounds like something that pro players would actually really be interested in, because there's clearly a difference even at the pro level between like the aerial speed of some players. You can just see it. You look at someone like Astral taking off for an aerial, you're like, yeah, he was going pretty fast there. And then you look at someone else, you're like, yeah, that didn't look as fast. And it's all about like the timing of every individual position. But I think that they do it more based on like just feel and just practice. I don't think anybody's gone into the actual frame by frame like you have, except the only player who I could think of that might have done that is Cuxer. He strikes me as the kind of guy who would like to do that kind of thing, like really look into every single frame movement that he's making. But that would be like really valuable. Even I think if you build that together, you shouldn't make it like you should try and like make like a premium package. You could sell it to pro teams. They would probably all buy that from you guys. And the pro player training tool to aerial faster. That's that's gold right there for a pro player, for Pro Rocket League, I'd say.
Yeah, I don't know if that's allowed. I don't know if Psyonix would like stop you at some point if we start selling this stuff. I don't actually know that.
I don't know. So, what do you reckon, Matt? Do you think? Because I mean, if it was like a training tool, I don't know. I think
I would imagine that. I would imagine that you would probably want to run it by them first before doing it, probably. But I am also assuming that they're pretty in touch with your whole gang as you do things and discuss things. Am I right about that, or am I wrong?
I mean, we have contacts, but it's not like we talk about everything or ask about everything. Sure. We just assume, okay, does this give like an advantage online? No, so we can do it. Stuff like that.
They made a statement early on about that too, right? Like when Alpha Console and stuff had just come out, I remember them making sort of a public statement like, you know, we're okay with mods as long as they're not adding advantages or something along those lines.
As long as it's not a live, like, actual impacting the current game or current play that is happening. As long as there's nothing like actually influencing the game that is ongoing, then it would be fine. Like all the training tools, I can't imagine that would be a problem. But yeah, I don't know for a fact. I'm just assuming. I can't think of a reason why that would be an issue.
I wanted one that it's similar sort of like Realm, but I wanted a plugin that would tell me like off of this particular play, like say like the aerial off the wall, the speed at which you're hitting the ball and like how close it is to like the maximum speed that you could generate from that position. So like, because one thing about pros or just the really good players is they're always like, when they want to, at least, they're just smashing the ball all the time. And it's a big difference. So like, if you could train yourself in those situations and repeat until you are, you have the air roll down or whatever you need down to get like a really strong hit on it. I always thought that would be really interesting.
Yeah.
But it's definitely similar, and it like it's sort of like the speed flip training packs or whatever. It's like the ball is just far enough where you can't hit it unless you speed flip correctly. So just run it back until you get those things correct. I think those are really, really great use cases.
Like you can do that. There's some very specific cases in the actual custom training that you can do that, where it's just like an awkward falling ball and you don't have any momentum and you have to air roll perfectly in order to dodge perfectly to get it to reach the goal from distance. But I think what you're suggesting would be even more interesting, because if you ever just told you, it was possible to hit this,
the optimal hit.
Yeah, the optimal power, the maximum power that was possible to generate on that ball compared to what you did. I suppose that would be easier. Halfy's gonna have to be the authority on this, obviously, but it's not like you wouldn't want to, or you're not saying you would want a mod that would tell you, oh, you should have air rolled slightly more to this direction, or you should have dodged the slight bit later. You just want to know how close was I, right?
Yeah, probably just like what angle, like what speed are you hitting at, and what's possible from that direction, which I still think, from a computer science perspective, actually sounds still sort of difficult. What do you think?
I mean, it depends on how much I look at the actual formula for the generating the force. I could probably like work it out in a situation, but that would literally be math, because otherwise I would have to do like a lookup table, and you cannot make a lookup table for every single situation, because if you have like a redirect in Rocket League, you can actually get more power, way more power than if you just do a straight up shot.
Have you done anything on that on like any videos on the redirects like that, where you just barely touch the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like made like a really long video about just shooting and getting the most power. It's called Boomer Science.
Boomer Science.
Really?
No, it's actually not called that. I don't know what it's called. It's the thumbnail I made, like Boomer Science.
That's fantastic.
I see. I thought maybe you were talking about When I Do Science.
Yeah. It's like the halfway science versus Boomer Science, which is the
old man science.
Yeah, that's sick though. Yeah, what do you, off the top of your head then, can you explain to Twitch chat why those redirects happen where the car barely touches the ball, and then suddenly the ball just flies like off in the opposite direction. It just gains what looks like an absurd amount of power. It looks like there was too much power, but then it happens so often that you just think, oh well, it's clearly supposed to be in the game. Like, why does that happen compared to if they hit it a little bit thicker, then it doesn't really gain any power at all. It just deflects. What's going on there?
Yeah, that's related to how Psyonix does like the hit physics, which is pretty broken. I mean, not broken. That's the wrong word. It's not realistic. It's very unrealistic. And they use first the physics engine just underneath. That's just basic hit detection and collision, but that doesn't generate the power. The power in Rocket League really comes from the fact that they have like additional script forces, and they are based on like the center of mass and where you touch the ball. So and the force is basically dependent on how fast the ball is coming towards you, or you're coming towards, so the relative velocity. It doesn't matter whether you move fast or the ball moves fast. It's just the relative speed between you and the ball. And if the ball is going past you and you touch it just barely at the end, then you're basically adding force in the direction the ball is already traveling in. And because the ball is moving way faster than you are, there's a high relative velocity, and a high relative velocity means a lot of added force. So you're adding force in the direction the ball is already going, and you have a high velocity that it gets added. While if you're moving, you're actually reducing the force, because if you're moving in the same direction as the ball, then you're gonna have less relative velocity to the ball, so you're adding less force, as if you were going slow. That's why you can. It's a bit difficult to explain. Just
so that's why what you're saying. Well, basically, you don't want to be, if you want to get the most power on those redirects, then you don't want to be flying in the same direction the ball is about to pass you by in, because then you're going at a closer speed in the same direction. So the actual, at the point of impact, you're not getting as much of a difference in the relative velocity, essentially. But then it's that way when players are flying like one way, and then the ball's coming the other way, and then they just clip it as the two are going past each other. That seems to be the fastest, because the two, right before the point of contact, the car and the ball are moving at the fastest possible pace away from each other.
Yeah, that's exactly the situation where you can get the most power possible. And it's just that it's very easy to mess up. So if you have the ball in front of you and you're actually just stopping its momentum because you're hitting it in the wrong direction. So you have to make sure that the ball's actually hitting you past your center of mass. And you can screw that up easily. But if you hit it, that's the most power you can generate. That's why sometimes you get like these really, really powerful touches, and sometimes it doesn't go anywhere because you're actually stopping it and not accelerating it.
What's the like the error, or the margin for error there? Are we talking like pixels?
It depends on how well you want to hit it. If you want to get the perfect shot, it's can be literally the difference so small that you can't like make it as a human realistically, not reliably. But if you just want to get a redirect at all, that doesn't stop it. I mean, like, it's very capable.
So do you think it's pretty, like, do you think it's possible for pros to very consistently get like maximum power then, or do you think it's too it's too precise to do that?
As in literally the maximum speed that the ball can go, or what do you mean by maximum power? Because it goes always faster until the maximum speed. So
yeah.
I don't think that they can hit the maximum speed, because that's 216 kilometers an hour.
Wow. I was really actually going to ask that. I was like wondering, have you been able to recreate that in a game? Create the 216?
Yeah, it's possible without a pinch. You can absolutely just, if you have the ball coming towards you with already like 140 kph and you do that perfect redirect, it's going to go roughly that speed.
Really? That sounds like a fun trainer to to run. Okay.
Well, speaking about things that pro teams and pro players might not like be aware of, because I really do think that most of the good players in this game, they're not really just thinking, down to the actual science of everything. They're just playing the game. They're just like, trial and error, pure trial and error. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe one team have got a genius behind the scenes who's telling all the players exactly what they need to be min-maxing, but I don't know about that. So that would be another thing that I bet that there's plenty of pro players unaware of that. They might know that, oh yeah, sometimes I'm flying this way and the ball's flying this way and I get a redirect on it and it goes really fast, and they know that that's a thing in the game, but they might not know that it's actually going to hit the ball harder consistently if your car is going the opposite direction than the ball. That's the part where, you know, we might be getting into the unsure territory for most players. Like if you ask them, like, you know, if you gave them options, which is going to generate a faster shot, the ball moving this way, the car moving this way, and you clip it, or car moving this way, ball moving this way, and you clip it, they might not know. I'd be really interested in running that by like 100 pro players, see how many of them get it right, because yeah, I don't think I would have been able to tell you like for a fact, like, you know, knowing why that happens. It's just one of those things you see it happen, you're like, okay, that was really fast, but what is going on? Why was that shot a billion miles an hour? It doesn't really make sense, because I guess from a real world perspective, that wouldn't happen in a real situation. It wouldn't really matter. Like you know, or I don't think that would be the thing that would generate the most power if Rocket League was real life. Cux would be the only one. Yeah, Cux, he's probably the only one. He'll lock himself in his room for months and then just figure out something like that, and he'll have a new mechanic that nobody else knows about. He's waiting to pull it out at the most crazy moment. Yeah, there's another question on different mechanic from Bobby Hill saying, what about pinches? I think that one is a bit more like when players see it happen for the first time, they're like, whoa, what was that? But then, you know, after you get it, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, pinches, people get it. It's a bit more, I think, intuitive than the crazy redirects.
Pinches are a thing that I haven't actually looked into that much, but I think I know the basics. If you look in like some games, sometimes they're like immovable objects that are actually moving though. I mean, like they can't be moved by the player or something, but they are moving by your script or something. And then they squish you and you start to fly into the distance, into infinity with crazy speed. That's basically similar to what happens in the Rocket League pinch, is that you try to go at the ball, and then the ball can't go anywhere, and the ball can't really go anywhere, so it can't go into the wall. So the physics solver basically looks at where can the ball move, and after a couple of steps, it figures out that the ball can move to the side. So you're going at the ball, and then the ball can't go into the wall, but it can go here. And then basically it looks at how fast it has to go in one physics tick to go from here to here. And basically that's the new speed. And then it goes from there and shoots off really fast, because it has to move out of the way within one physics tick, because it can't, like, there can't be interpenetration between the wall and the ball and the car after the physics tick is completed.
Yeah, like the car visually sometimes clips the ball, but the hitbox will never do that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Or it won't do that server side, at least.
Yeah, exactly. Because there are certain examples where the client interpolates and you see the car literally going through the ball.
Yeah, straight through the ball. But yeah, obviously on the server that is impossible. That's interesting. Yeah. Twitch are probably like thinking, oh my goodness, what else do we need to know about?
What concept do you think that you've been introduced in your videos that's had like the biggest impact on the community or on players?
That's a good question. I wish I could have prepared that. I guess, I mean, it would be also like the no flip concept is something that I still hear all the time. It's just a flip cancel at the end of the day that you can do, but it still gets done. And the speed flip is essentially a no flip that's diagonal.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, I don't really know about mechanics that I've influenced.
Well, other things as well. I just mean videos, like concepts. Like, for instance, I saw about 40 people in the chat be like, I'm overclocking my controller. Tell him thank you.
Oh.
So I was curious if, like, you know, if that one, I mean, obviously, like some of your new videos are likely because your audience has grown and your influence has grown over time. And, you know, I'm sure people are digging less back, you know, occasionally they probably are, but you know, they're probably getting more initial views on your newest videos and stuff. So I was just curious if you felt like one has had an outsized impact compared to others.
Not really. I mean, the videos with the most views have actually been non-science videos have been stuff like when I talked about I did like I played without seeing my rank for a month. I hit it via Bakkesmod, and that got 160k views. That's like my most watched video, along with the controller input lag test. And other than that, I had like the video about free to play and video about Grand Champ ranks and the video about future mechanics in RLCS. So they've been popping off. The science videos, yeah, they stay pretty niche, I would say, even though some of them have gotten pretty big over time. It's actually the first episode, I think, that I ever made that is the biggest in terms of those.
Okay, nice. And what videos? I guess would you say what video has been like the most fun for you to make?
The most fun. I would tend to say the one I'm most proud of too. At the end of the day, it's like always a process of figuring stuff out and then putting it out and actually being happy with it afterwards. And that's the one on dodges. Still think that's probably the best one I've made. And it's just has everything you could ever want to know about dodges. It's still completely up to date. Even though I didn't cover wave dashes on purpose. But at the end of the day, wave dash is just dodge into the ground. And that's all you need to really know. But yeah, other than that, it has everything you could ever want to know about dodges. And I think it's decently presented.
That must be pretty satisfying when you make a video like that and then it's still valid years later, or like anything, because I'm sure that there's some stuff that are you ever just releasing something and then it becomes untrue because of the evolving meta, or it suddenly isn't as accurate advice anymore for players who are watching? Because you did say that you want your videos to help people improve. The mechanical improvements that are being made with Rocket League, has that ever posed a challenge to keeping the content accurate for future metas and for future players? So right now everybody can do what Kronovi did in that montage that got you inspired to play the game. Right now there's like players in Platinum who could probably do those shots, but the players at the top are so insane. Like, is everything still future proofed?
I mean, not everything in my videos, but I would say that like mechanical improvement hasn't really changed much about it, because I try to make sure that that it is mostly like accurate or like mostly perfect. If I say something like this is the best way, then it has to be the best way. And the very first video I actually did like a test with like boosting to the ceiling and boosting to certain situations, and I didn't have tools that I have today, and I didn't make it perfect, so that got completely outdated. But I made that fully up to date in my fast aerial video, and that you can't really improve on much as a human. As a human, certainly not. But like in the first video, the way the macro that I had set up back then, I'm pretty sure that a really good player could reliably do it faster than that macro I had in the very first episode. So that did change. And other than that, I mean, the game has changed. There's stuff like now the Merc hitbox is new. And the plank hitbox was pretty much removed, or rather it's a hitbox, but it's all identical to the Batmobile, while the Batmobile and plank used to be slightly different.
Where can we find out about the new hitboxes?
I have made a video about the visualizations. And I don't have a video out yet on the Merc, on the details on the stats, but I'm working on that.
That's the one teasers. That, talking about the new massive audience that Rocket League has. Yeah, that one would be something that people are interested in. Battle Bus hitbox.
It's the same as Merc, right?
Yeah. But you got to call it Battle Bus hitbox. It's more clickbait than the Merc hitbox.
Really? I mean, the entire video is already scripted and recorded. I mean, not edited.
Now, to be honest, all you would need to do
around the Merc, actually.
All you would need to do is like make the title and the thumbnail have the Battle Bus in it, and then the whole video could be about the Merc. It's still accurate, but yeah, you got to have a Battle Bus in that thumbnail. for sure.
Honestly, you
Increase
could
the views,
become like every other Rocket League YouTuber and be like, "This bus is crazy."
Wow.
After you made the Merc
Yeah.
video, like, "Wow, this is an insane hitbox. It's
Yeah,
actually nuts."
You can just call it like Merc hitbox is overpowered, and then make another video called Battle Boss hitbox is overpowered, and it could just be the same video. People would be like, "Oh, I've got to find out why that's overpowered."
This
I've
is
gotta know
so
about that."
crazy. Oh man, it's
Whoa,
insane.
this new car is the best car in the game.
You can become what you set out to destroy at the end of the day. You know?
That's pretty much it.
Another cookie cutter Rocket League channel, but done with the science to prove what you're saying. So, Matt, how about we go through some of the other topics? I think we touched on some of them, but maybe not in detail.
Yeah.
And just hear Happy's thoughts on them briefly as we go through them. Just stuff, things phrases that people like to throw around, and some have preferences about, or some people say one thing, some people say another. You can just give your thoughts, starting with let's go for heavy car bug. Tell us about heavy car bug, Happy, and everything we should know about it.
Way too much time looking at it, trying to figure out if there is actually anything with the game wrong, and I've tried so many things, and there's certainly nothing wrong with my game. I'm 100% sure about that, even though I have felt the same symptoms. I've felt like, oh, my car isn't turning right or something like that. It's just, I wanted to turn differently, and I mean, I felt the same in real life. I play badminton, and I didn't miss that ball. I mean, I totally hit that ball, and it just went past my racket somehow. No, it's probably like the most annoying thing that I get in DMs.
Just want to make it clear that Johnny brought it up, not me. Okay.
It said we'll very quickly touch on the topics and move on. Just very briefly.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a chance for you to just reply to all those DMs in one go. It's very efficient.
Yeah, I've done lots of tests. I have offered them to other people, and I have had someone from the Heavy Kabak community actually replicate them.
Oh,
yeah, there's a Heavy Kabak Discord too.
No,
Heavy Kabak Discord. You joking?
Is it?
Who made that? Did Jesse make it?
No.
Goodness sake.
Who started that? It's the same as the flat Earth Discord.
Oh, the Rocket League flat Earthers, except like, I guess it's not quite as crazy because heavy car bug, everybody can probably relate to going into Rocket League and being like, yeah, something's off today. I just don't know. I'm not playing very well. Then you change car and
I've
you're
never
like,
thought it was like the car though. Like the car was heavier. That's a weird thing. In my opinion.
I've definitely felt this. I'm almost certain it's placebo effect, because sometimes I feel sluggish, and I'm like, I think it's, I don't know. It just, the car doesn't look like it's moving the way it should, and then you switch to another car, you're like, oh no, I feel fantastic. Like, it's always Octane Fennec. If I feel bad in the Octane, I switch to the Fennec. I'm like, oh yeah, this is fine.
I would probably be like,
oh great,
oh my frames are bad or something like that. I wouldn't be like, well, the car suddenly has gained weight.
That's what happens, Matt. Just so car has too much for pudding and puts on a few pounds.
No, that's
car bug. It's so funny. Discord. I can't believe that.
No, but that's kind of the problem. Like, there are obviously things that can make it wrong. Like, you activate some kind of software that messes with your inputs. I don't know, like some plugin. Or you have like, I'm not talking about Bakkesmod plugin. Bakkesmod never messes with your inputs.
I was like, wow,
never.
I was like, we're treading on dangerous territory.
Bakkesmod, it's programmed. They're getting you guys. They've programmed it. Whenever you run into one of the Bakkesmod inner circle in ranked,
the gang
suddenly heavy car bug on. It's suddenly it's on, and you're losing your rank points to all the Bakkesmod inner circle. They're ranking up. They're the ones ranking up.
Yeah, I'm talking about like something like Steam controller configuration and
DS4
like
Windows. That. DS4 Windows is
I didn't measure anything with DS4 Windows, but could be in theory that they changed something and messed something up. Your controller can actually go bad. Like, I've had someone diagnose that pretty much with, like, they have a tool and like DS4 gets old and dusty, and then it doesn't move properly anymore. If you move the stick around and you look at the representation of a controller overlay on screen, it just doesn't really match up and it flicks around the place. So there are definitely things that could basically make everything go wrong. But when people start to do test for all that, and they do all that, and then they say afterwards, it's still not the same, then I don't know. I've got nothing to say to that anymore. I've spent way more than enough time on that.
Okay. Case closed.
There we go.
Case closed, idiots.
Shut the door.
Doesn't exist.
Delete the Heavy Carbug Discord, please. Get rid of this community. I've had messages about this as well, like asking people asking how do they fix it. I'm like, well, why would you ask me of all people? I've like been the one telling you that it's nonsense. Why are they asking me now to how they're gonna go fix their problems? I'm like, bro, it's placebo. What are you talking about? Wait, Matt, do you have any of the other, like, we've got some other topics here that we...
Yeah, well, I was going to ask about input lag, but I know you have a video coming out about that. And you probably aren't going to, or you're doing input lag. Aren't you doing an experiment on input lag?
Yeah. I am.
Is it done my master's
thesis. So that's going to take a while.
Oh, okay. No problem.
I've gathered the data, but I'm far from done with analysis. I haven't really started.
We'll wait patiently for that one. Yeah.
What do you think? Like, besides Heavy Carbug, what are the other like biggest misconceptions that people have about like rocket science? Not about your brand, Rocket Science, but about like the concepts in Rocket League.
I would tend to say about the cars being different, and the problem with that is the history, because they used to be all different, first of all. Yep. And then Psyonix started to do stuff like they made the hitbox the same, but only the hitbox. And the handling wasn't the same. I think they started that with Takumi, and they said, oh, the Takumi now has the Octane hitbox. And it only had the hitbox. They had like a different center of mass. It had different wheels, and people like that did the stats back then. They found all that out. And but at the point where they started making the presets and the preset system, where everything goes into these 5 and now 6 presets, all the cars in the same presets are absolutely identical. And that is something that people don't believe. And there's another problem why they don't believe it, because some people do actually test it, and they go into free play, and they just drive straight forward into the ball, and they get a different bounce with different cars. And the problem is that Psyonix teleports cars wrong, or they teleport them differently based on the visual anchor. So when you start with the Octane, or you start with the Fennec, you actually start in a slightly different spot. But if you set that up with Bakkesmod, and you start in exactly the same spot in the same location, then the bounce is going to be the same. And you can just drive straight into the ball, and it's going to be the same bounce twice.
Interesting.
So it's actually, the start location. But is that just in free play, or does that happen with kickoffs as well?
It definitely happens in custom training too, so I assume it happens everywhere where Psyonix spawns you. So
you've probably just started a massive revolution of people who think that's why they're losing kickoffs now.
Yeah.
Which maybe, I mean, I've never tested that, or there's no way to really test that in a game outside of, like, I guess, looking at a replay in incredible detail.
Yeah, how close is a replay to what actually happened? Do you find a replay is like the exact record of what happened, or can replays be skewed depending on which machine saves them?
There are multiple problems. It's online is one thing. Yeah. So you don't get like a replay from the server. You get a replay based on the information you have. And sometimes if you had a bit of lag, the information came delayed, but you still have that information. So the replay can be right where it was lagging in the real game. So that can happen, that the lag is gone from the replay.
I see.
But if you have like packet loss and the data never arrived at your PC anyway, then that is also missing in the replay. So that is completely broken, and I'm not sure if it's always in order, everything. But yeah, there is definitely problems with networking in replays. That can still happen, even though it doesn't have to happen. Mm-hmm. And other than that, replays don't save every physics tick. They just, I think they even just save the visual information at that frame. And they only do it 30 times a second, and the physics run 120 times a second. So you're just getting a low resolution, time resolution version of the game, and the dodges aren't timed properly and stuff like that. That's why you sometimes get ghost hits in replays and stuff like that. And you can replay the same spot in the replay 3 times, and sometimes there are like sparks of the hitbox, and sometimes there are no sparks, because the game just interpolates that and thinks, oh, you've hit it. Oh no, you didn't hit it. Just depends on how it interprets the if it's like really close, that can happen.
So there's even more conspiracies now for everybody. They're gonna be complaining at Psyonix that their replays are not showing what really happened, and secondly, to say that they're losing kickoffs to every mark because they must be spawning closer. I wonder if you could figure out. That would be like a viral video for sure. The best car for kickoffs in Rocket League. Scientifically,
closest to the ball.
Best car because it spawns closer to the ball than other cars. That's a hit right there. They're going to be like, well, I guess that's it then. It's proven. Best car for kickoffs. We're all going to play that one in 1v1.
No, I think the problem is that the differences are way too small for that. Like, I think like if you go max speed, you move like, you move 2,300 Unreal units in a second. So per physics tick, that would be, 2,400 would be 20, right? Yeah. Yes. About 20 Unreal units per physics tick, and you spawn maybe like 0.5 off or something, or one Unreal unit off.
Like such small, tiny margin.
It's less than a tick.
Yeah. So like when we're talking about winning
people
kickoffs,
are worried about heavy car bugs, man. You could
people,
just do the video. Just do it.
It'll still be a viral video if you can figure out which car spawns closest to the ball. Then it'll still be. It doesn't matter how small the advantage is. People will still watch the video to find out which car is going to give them that tiny advantage. But obviously, what you're saying is true. Like when the difference is that small, the major influencing factors of who wins a kickoff are going to be other things, not like who spawned that, tiny amount closer to the ball. It'll be who did the kickoff better. But still, I agree with Matt. Yeah, make that video. It's going to blow up. Everybody wants to know the answer to that question.
It'd be interesting, even if you end with it doesn't really matter. It's still kind of an interesting topic.
It's totally, because even if not only people won't just want to know that so they can become better players, people are going to want to watch that because they're going to want to justify why they've been losing kickoffs because they know it's not their fault. True. It's people want proof that they're losing because it's bad luck and things outside their control. So if they have any chance, if there's any possible opportunity to watch a video that they can be like, I knew it. I knew I was better than that Mark player who beat me by one kickoff goal in overtime. I knew I was better than him. The only reason I lost is because of this what it says in this video. And they're going to go sleep very soundly at night thanks to all that.
I don't doubt that, but that's not the kind of content I want to make.
True.
I just don't.
I think I'm just saying, I think you can make the content you want to make while also, killing some other birds with that stone at the same time. You can multitask. So that's like the hitboxing's an annoying one that everybody gets wrong. Everybody there's still myths going around that they're all different, even though they're not. You touched on earlier casters like saying things wrong. Is there any other ones you wanted to mention about that? Like other things that casters say that you're just like, oh, it's this again. Like what are the top incorrect popular things that keep coming up?
From casters, mostly again about hitboxes. They don't necessarily say this is the wrong hitbox or something like that, but they make some comment about the Dominus or the Octane being better at a certain thing, and it's just, well, you could just say that, but it's like just there is no argument there for that car to be better at that.
Or power shot generates more power or something. That used to be something people were like, the Dominus just shoots the ball harder. You're like, no, it doesn't.
It just doesn't. Stuff like that happens a lot, and that does from casters. It does. I haven't heard that from a caster, but a lot of times, like the flip reset thing, people don't believe that the flip reset comes from 4 wheels landing on the ball. They think you hit like some kind of center of mass or something out of the car, which is impossible because that's not a location. And for some of the hitboxes, it's inside the hitbox, so you would have to hit inside of the hitbox. No, you have to land on the ball with 4 wheels. Yeah. But it looks a bit weird sometimes because, first of all, the visual wheels don't match the actual hitbox preset wheels. And, that's mostly the difference. And then people just see it wrong. Like I could show you like 50%, 60% of the clips where people say, why is this not a flip reset? You just play it frame by frame in slow motion, and it's just plain obvious that the person didn't hit it with 4 wheels. It's just very easy to see.
But the hitbox or the wheels have a hitbox, and where the wheels are in the hitbox sometimes doesn't match the wheels graphically.
Exactly. That's
so, yeah,
something...
They miss it graphically, but they're like, well, look, it's all 4 of my wheels touching the ball, but actually they didn't because the hitbox is in a different location. That's
well, I would say it's like 60-70% where just look at it in slow motion and it's actually right.
Yeah,
like it doesn't even look wrong. And then 15% maybe that, and then 50% is down to latency, for example. It's always
so you're saying most people, they
games.
actually visually, they didn't even land all 4 of their wheels that they can see, not the hitbox wheels, the actual wheels, they're not all landing. They're like, why isn't this a reset? Because, well, actually, because you missed the this wheel's not touching the ball. I feel like I saw another really funny video about that recently. Somebody was complaining about something. Was it one of your tweets, or somebody was like saying, this 50-50 nonsense, or this flip reset should have landed, and then you're just like, well, actually, you do like these breakdown videos for Twitter where you show exactly why they're wrong and that everything was totally fine.
I haven't done that too much, but it's actually something I've been planning for YouTube.
Yeah,
people can send me clips, and I will show them why they didn't work or why Rocket League is broken, because there are actually things where Rocket League is kind of broken.
For sure. I would love to see more of that. I can't remember though, but yeah, I do know that recently I saw one of these hilarious videos where it was like just a complete shutdown of somebody complaining that they lost because of luck, and then it might have been someone else who were like, well, actually, no, you didn't. Yeah, you just lost. Just to take it on the chin, mate. And the science is the reason why.
Are there any particular teams in like EU or NA that you follow that you like are a fan of?
I mean, I guess a bunch of them. I just hope always, if like in EU, I watch a lot of EU. So basically, in any matchup, there's like a preferable team that I want to win. So I go into the match and I look at which team I want to win. I root for them. And I guess at the top, like I usually just really like the teams that are fun to watch, which is, I guess, a bit of a personal thing. But for me, stuff like Giants right now are extremely fun to watch, and the old Dignitas used to be really fun to watch, so I love that. And I tend to not like the
old Dignitas, like Panda.
With Astro.
With
Astro.
And I tend to not like. Yeah, exactly. With like at RLCS season 9, no, 8 at the grand finals. That was absolutely amazing. The best series I've ever watched against Vitality. I love that. I just hated the ending. But yeah, I tend to not root for the teams at the very top, especially only if they're like dominating completely. So I don't like Vitality.
Ooh, no, I don't like Vitality. I think that means, Matt, we do need to. Yeah, we do need to ask about Vitality.
That was a setup. That was okay, all a setup. It's a bit easier. So this part of the show, we usually do team demo ranked. Have you ever watched this before?
I think I watched like SunlessCon episodes.
Okay, so you the way that it works, we give you three players or a team with 3 players on it. You decide who you would team with, who you would demo, and who would you want to play ranked with. So no commitments, just fooling around in ranked. And we'll give you a bunch of prompts, and you can tell us, who you would you like to team with, demo, and
are there any like teams you absolutely despise historically as well, for no particular reason? Just I'm very curious to know.
That's a good question. No, I don't think in terms of players at all. In terms of just domination. I don't like when teams are just dominating something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Especially if it looks like they're just the most consistent, and other teams could be beating them if they just played their best. And I want it to be interesting. I want the worst teams to play their very best so they can beat them.
The underdogs, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Giants? Team demo ranked for Giants.
Do I have to give the answer before I read the other options?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, what do you mean by other options? The other teams?
Yeah.
We just do it team by team, so you need to all the 3 Giants players, Samway, Stake, and
okay.
You have to team with one of them, and demo one of them, and play ranked with one of them.
Good question. I mean, probably team with Tox, because he's German.
True.
Makes it easiest. ranked with Steak, I guess, and demo somewhere because he's left over.
For Samway, the demo by process of elimination. But Steak, he's a keyboard player as well. Maybe you can convert him to mouse steering when you play ranked to them. That would be a pretty interesting one to see. He does. I think he just has pure default keyboard mouse controls, if I'm not mistaken. I know he air rolls left and right with Q and E for anybody who's wondering, which is a big advantage. But anyway, let's do Vitality, the current Vitality that you don't like because they're too good.
I mean, I would have to go team with K-Dub, I guess, historically, because he's just historically the best, I would say. And I mean, Alpha could just carry me in ranked, so he's pretty much the carry. He just plays it all himself, so I guess he has to be the ranked partner, and then Ferry has to be demoed.
Wow. That's the first time anyone has ever demoed Fairy Peak.
I know, yeah. I think it's the first time anyone hasn't teamed with Fairy Peak.
Teamed with him, yeah.
Everyone else chooses team with Fairy Peak, but you want to demo him. Going against the grain.
K-Dop's usually catching a demo in that
or Alpha. Some players like to demo Alpha because
he
demos them a lot in ranks. They're like, I'm going to demo him.
That's true.
Get him back. That's interesting.
All right.
Yeah, maybe I'm just looking at the past because I mean K-Dop has been slacking a bit, but also not. He's also still at the top, so not really much to complain about.
Your reasoning is fine. It was just interesting because you're the first person to demo Fairy Peak. He's just such a nice guy, but you don't like him. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be hard carried by Alpha.
Yeah, that's cool. Old Dignitas, Astral Turbo Panda.
No, it's Astral Yukio edition.
Astro Yukio Panda. I'm making up.
That's new Dignitas. The Dignitas hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
very new Dignitas.
I would have to say that I got a team with Astra because I think he's probably the best player if he plays at his peak, probably in the world. And then I would play ranked with Panda. I like passing. Nice. I never do it though. Panda's gonna pass to me.
Nice.
And I'm gonna demo Yukio.
Okay.
Unlucky Yukio.
Great. What about the new Dignitas roster? Yukio, Jorias, and Jesse.
I mean, what do I do with Jesse? That's a real question. I think I'm gonna team with Yukio and play rank with Jesse and demo Jorius.
Wow. Did not see that coming at all.
Yeah.
Jorius getting demoed. You just can't catch a break. Poor guy.
And
rank with Jesse would be just too much fun to miss out on.
That's true.
You have to be in comms. You have to be in comms so you can hear the slams and the
or you could just I don't know, maybe he wouldn't slam as much if you're in comms because you would feel a bit worse because it's much easier to slam and blame when you're not at all in comms. So the best case scenario would be like he doesn't even know you, you just queue with him. He just parties up with you and he doesn't know who you are, and then he can just go full rage to his stream.
That is true.
You could just listen in and hear him going crazy and slamming his desk. That would be entertaining.
Absolutely. Jesse in comms is always the most positive person ever, and then
he actually he
goes out of really comms and complains every day.
What is he doing? Come on. So last one, Matt.
The last one, the gang. Bacchus, Cinderblock, MDK, team demo ranked. Keep in mind, 2 of them are here right now, I think.
Damn. But I can't go against Bacchus. Bacchus is my longtime teammate. He's going to stay my longtime teammate. And sometimes we play ranked with MDK. So Cinderblock is taking the demo.
Cinderblock, you're catching a demo, mate. Man. What do you think
he also has that NA ping, so maybe I can't even hit the demo.
Okay, true.
You're gonna demo him twice, is what you're saying. You're gonna demo him and then spawn demo him. He's getting demoed by elimination, and then against for having bad ping. Unlucky Pepe hands, he says. Here, somebody needs to hook up Matt's chat with all the BTTV.
I know.
Emotes.
Actually, Spectre, I'm going to mod you because you're a Zoomer and you know which ones people want. I did enable some of them. I think you can do Cat Jam in here now. I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think I did, but like you have to go through and select them individually. I think, and I'm not.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you'll need to like moderate them on the site
we got
as
Cat
well.
Jam. We got Cat Jam. It's
nice,
no problem.
Man.
I mean that
Cat Jam's
great. Cat Jam's great. So yeah, I've got it started. I just need to add a couple Zoomers to my chat, and we're good to go.
Did they speed up Cat Jam, or was it always this fast? I feel like it's been sped up. Maybe it's just a.
Well, you see, the thing is, Johnny, that could be the polling rate of your mouse.
It could be my monitor.
Yeah, it could be your monitor. There could be something wrong in the replay.
Chat lag.
The Cat Jam replay file.
Fast cat bug. It's been overclocked.
That's amazing.
So good.
Well, we're gonna wrap it up here, buddy. It was awesome having you on the pod. I think we should have you back in the future, especially when new patches come out and stuff like that. And it's really exciting to hear that you might be giving YouTube a full-time try. That's excellent news. In fact, how can everybody in the audience support you? I think everybody kind of knows you already, probably already follows you on YouTube, but what are the ways that people can support you?
I doubt it's everyone. I mean, I don't have that many subs. Well, my YouTube is just Rocket Science. If you search for it on YouTube, you're going to find it, or you can go to youtube.com/RocketScienceRL.
Or if you do !guest, you will get the link to the YouTube and the OnlyFans. Just kidding. The Twitter and the YouTube. I have those linked already.
I'm sorry, RJ, I don't have an OnlyFans. Okay.
Yeah, make sure you're subscribed. Road to 50K, almost there. Let's help Rocket Science help Happy reach 50K. Yeah, that's awesome. Best of luck to you with all that. And yeah, I'm a believer. I think that all of the new Fortnite Zoomers who are just switching to Rocket League now, they're gonna come around. They're gonna want to learn more about the physics in the future once they're done being noobs in bronze who are, ball chasing in the battle bus.
Yeah, sounds great. Other than that, my Twitter is on screen at HalfwayDeadRL, and I don't know if I am.
Oh, the Patreon as well.
I have a Patreon as well if you want to support me directly, but I suggest that you watch my videos first.
Yep.
If you haven't done that, maybe you don't want to. And other than that, my creator code, if I can say it again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also just Rocket Science.
So you've got Rocket Science on lockdown. That's good.
Yeah.
That's some good branding.
That's great.
I can't get it on YouTube though. The URL.
That's a tough one for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, great. Well, like I said, man, thank you for having us on the show. I'm just going to quickly do the outro here. Johnny, thank you as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good night, chat. Thanks for hanging out. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Saltcast. You can find all the episodes, links to the YouTube and Twitch, and everything else you need in your life at my site, smelly.af. Head over there and I'll see you in the chat for the next show.